Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now in the last episode, we helped out the gamekeeper Vostatic deal with some poachers, and then we came over here and helped old Olbrim deal with some issues he was having over with some people over at Takov, and basically we helped him steal a maypole from them, and then we pulled a series of pranks on them, for lack of a better way to actually describe it. Now, in this episode, we are actually going to go help him fight them at the pasture, apparently. But before we do that, we're going to, as we tend to do, go through our perk points and allocate them. So, for our main level, we've already gone through Memorable. We've already gone through Undaunted Cavalier. We also have Burger. In towns, villages, and their surrounding areas, you gain a +1 bonus on Strength, Agility, Vitality, and Speech. That doesn't sound too terrible. Local Hero, if you are in an area where you have a good reputation, you gain a +2 bonus on Strength, Agility, Vitality, and Speech. That is actually probably going to be better because obviously it's more stats, but in particular, we are kind of a chivalrous kind of a character. We have done a little bit of things that would be considered non-chivalrous. However, for the most part, we are probably going to try to have good reputation in places. So this will probably end up giving us more stat boost in the long haul than Burger. But otherwise, we've got Martin's Heritage. You will improve faster in sword fighting, crafting, and survival, as all experience gained will be 10% higher. And Radzig's, you will improve faster in heavy weapon shooting and scholarship skills. Okay, so this one's actually going to be pretty difficult just because either of these could be good depending on which, whether we stay with swords or heavy weapons. Because having experience gained in shooting and scholarship would be good, but so would crafting and survival. We use pretty much all of these skills, so it really comes down to, are you going to sword fight more or use heavy weapons more? So we're probably going to hold off on actually picking one of these. As you can see, it is exclusive, so we can only pick one of these. So we want to absolutely make sure that we have decided whether we're going to use heavy weapons or not. So I think for the moment, we're going to go with Local Hero here. I think this is going to be the most useful one in the short, or in the long term. So next we have Vitality, and we've already gone through Thick-Blooded, which is a pretty good one, but I don't plan to bleed too much, so for my purposes, probably not too much. Creative Soul, your energy will slowly replenish, and we're not going to pick that either. Next to Godliness, washing out a tub or pier or taking a bath in a bathhouse will cure 10 points of your health. Plus, if you go to bed clean, you'll heal 25% faster. It's okay. Well-dressed. Your clothes and body will get dirty 20% slower. In addition, by washing out a tub, you can get rid of all the dirt on your body, but you still have to go to a bathhouse or a pond for your clothes. So, I'm thinking well-dressed, or even, I mean, maybe next to Godliness. I feel like this is, if you're already going to be going to bed to heal, once a couple extra hours, really. I guess well-dressed, just because then you don't have to worry about getting dirty as often. None of those are really particularly good, in my opinion. Now, we have Speech, which we already went through. We went through both of those. Hustler, it's easier for you to sell stolen goods. We probably won't actually be doing that too much. Like I said, we're going to be trying to be a good character, so for the most part, that's not going to be too good. Jack of all trades, you get a bonus of +2 to skill checks. This is pretty much a no-brainer for us. You also get twice the amount of experience from these skill checks, so that's pretty much a no-brainer for us. Now we have Warfare, against all odds. When fighting against superior numbers, you gain a +2 bonus on Strength, Agility, and Warfare. Hardened Veteran, in combat, your stamina will regenerate 10% faster. River, when you make a dodge, a perfect dodge, or sprint during combat, you gain a +3 bonus on Warfare skill, and your stamina replenishes faster. That doesn't seem too bad. Just because most of these are... I mean, this would also be good in any kind of, like, big battles situation, because as long as their numbers are higher, but at the same time, I mean, how often does this happen? So the only other thing it'd be good for is when you get, when you kind of get jumped on the map by bandits or whatever. doesn't seem very useful to me personally. I usually can take out those bandits pretty easily if I feel like fighting them. So this is like kind of looking like the best. But I don't make that big of use of dodges, so we'll see. Rock solid. In combat, you can maintain a steady stance and use it to your advantage. When you don't sprint or dodge for 10 seconds, you'll gain plus 20 to your armor. Okay, so this is more like if you decide that you don't want to use sprinting a lot and you just want something that's going to work basically all the time. All you have to do is pretty much stand your ground and you'll get more armor. This seems like another no-brainer to me. Just, you know, if I decide to start using dodges, then that would be one thing, but I haven't, so. Next up, we have unarmed. The harder they fall. If you fight unarmed against an opponent with a weapon, which we probably will almost never do, so that's going to be useless. Kurzkampf. All attacks made during a clinch will deal 10% more damage. I mean, if we're doing a lot of wrestling, it could be okay. When fighting unarmed, you'll gain 15% more. Might as well just go with this one. So that if we are unarmed, at least we will get things that will help us in other areas of the game. We'll take the experience boost. Oh, that's right. So before we actually talked to Olbram, there was the option to go ahead and try to convince these guys. Convince the bailiff to actually help Olbram instead. So we'll go ahead and go talk to him first.
I came because of the arguments between Takov and Zhelyov.
What happened this time? Did Olbram piss in Project's ale barrels again like last year?
No, but they're getting ready to meet up and beat each other up.
Let them do it then! Maybe a few knocks to the skull will do them good, and they'll leave me alone.
How did the arguments between the Takovites and Zhelyovites start, anyway?
What do I know? I was a young lad back then, but it's all because of that bloody pasture. Both villages claim that it belongs to them, but nobody has any evidence. So they split it in half, but neither side is particularly happy about it.
Shouldn't you find out who the damn pasture belongs to then, bailiff?
Why should I? Let them eat each other for all I care. In the worst case, I'll put them all in the stocks. That should sort them out.
Wouldn't it be nice for the Takovites and Zhelyovites to leave you alone? I mean, take a look at yourself. I reckon you're not the youngest. Do you really need to get involved in some senseless brawl in a pasture?
Not the youngest? How dare you, you cheeky brats!
No, wait. That's not what I meant. Lord von Berghoff would surely be glad you're taking care of his domain.
You think so? After all, who else but a wise and kind bailiff like me could get those idiots to make up? How the fuck am I supposed to find out who the pasture belongs to? I looked in the Chronicle. Things like that tend to be there. But Bailiff Brada, who was here before me, must have been a lunatic. You'd have to be mad to make any sense of that book.
Then let me have a look. I may not be mad, but maybe I'll find something you overlooked. You won't have to worry about anything.
You want to touch such a rare book with those filthy peasant hands? Have you lost your mind?
Don't you trust me? After all I've done for you, did you forget I sorted things out with the folks from the Nomad camp?
True. Fine. You can take a look in the Chronicle. Maybe you'll piece Brada's scribblings together and make some sense of it. But be careful. Treat it like a virgin on her wedding night.
This Latin phrase looks important. Otherwise it wouldn't be written in red, would it? Fecit ordinem in region ope claviferae. I should try to find somebody who could translate it for me.
God bless. What would you like?
I need to translate something from Latin. You're an educated man, aren't you? Would you help me?
Why not? It's nice to see simple folk wanting to get educated. What is it you need translated?
Fecit ordinem in regione ope claviferae.
That's definitely Latin, but what could it mean? In regione is obvious. That's in the country or region. Fetchit ordinem is something like to bring order. And clave ferre means iron spike, or maybe nail. So, brought order to the region with the help of an iron nail. Where did you hear that nonsense?
That's not important. The main thing is I know what it means, and hopefully it'll help me in my work. Thank you. Ah, here's the damn nail. Right in the middle of the pasture. Olbram and Prochek won't be happy. From now on, the entire pasture belongs to Zhelyov. Olbram will be glad. I finally found the damn border between the Takov and Zhelyov parts of the pasture.
How the hell did you manage that?
I found it in that chronicle of yours. It wasn't easy, but we can finally put an end to all that endless fighting.
Oh, about fucking time. So then, are you sure you found the right place?
Definitely. Bailiff Brada took iron nails and used them to mark the border so that people wouldn't forget where it is. One of them is in the oak tree on the pasture.
That's nice of him and all, but he could have fucking told somebody about it. Who can make sense of those writings of his? At least Olbram and Prochek will leave us alone now. Go to them, and when you all meet in the pasture, I'll ride over and settle this nonsense once and for all. And if those two start arguing again, I'll be hammering nails into their arses instead of trees.
All right, I'm ready now. Let's go to the pasture and have a word with the Takovites.
Excellent. Come, let's tell the others, and we'll send for the fucker project.
Well, Zhelyevites, did you miss us?
Of course they did. I reckon they hardly slept a wink.
Can you blame them? I'd rather come and get a beating than hang around in Zhelyov too.
You see? They're provoking us again. There's no use trying to negotiate with them.
There's nothing to negotiate, old man. The pasture is ours, and that's final.
Bullshit! You know right well that I got smacked around as a child in that orchard, right over there.
You know what? Now you'll get smacked around here too.
Enough! Does anybody here have anything better to do?
Trust? What are you doing here?
This shouldn't concern you, bailiff. We'll just beat those bastards' asses and go home.
Sort them out, bailiff. Put a stop to their nonsense once and for all.
I won't tolerate this nonsense in my territory.
Tell that to the Zhelyevites. Maybe they'll finally get it into their thick heads that this pasture is ours.
In your dreams, you Takovite swine!
Kulva! Be quiet already!
This whole pasture belongs to Zhelyov. From the orchard all the way to that oak tree, there's a nail stuck in it, marking the border.
Fantastic! That's what I've been saying this whole time.
That's not possible. How much did Olbram pay you to say that?
How do you know? You're not even from around here.
But unlike you, yokels, he can read. It's all there, black on white, in the Troskovitz Chronicle. So you'll obey it and finally give it a rest.
They've done so much to hurt us. They should have to make it up to us. Make them pay.
None of that. They're the ones always provoking us. You know what? Let's give them a nice final bashing.
Knock it off already. Haven't you had enough of all this senseless arguing over the years? All those worthless problems and wasted time? Can't you just shake hands and make up?
That's right. From this point forward, this dispute is over. And if I hear about anyone causing trouble again, I'll have you all clapped in the pillory. Together. Now pack up and go home.
What a shame. Such a nice pasture.
Dummed old bastard.
You say something and
So, how does it feel to have the conflict with the Takovites sorted after all those years?
what can I say? I'll miss it a bit. But I'm sure we'll come up with a new way to have some laughs at their expense. But don't think I've forgotten thanks to whom the pasture is finally rightfully ours. You deserve a reward for your help. So you don't go around saying we Jellovites don't know how to show our appreciation.
Thank you.
And there it is, a little bit of lying on our end, but honestly, those Takovites were just kind of jerks. So I think I made the right choice. Now we have another gamekeeper mission that we can do, so I'll probably head over that way. Luckily, when I was over at Troskovitz, I also sold off a lot of junk that I got from more bandits, so we are actually sitting pretty when it comes to money. We have almost 1,500 now, which is quite good. Hopefully we will eventually get our way over to the, there's a very large city in this game, and it'd be great to get over there because there will probably be a lot of great armorers. But I'm going to head on over. I'm going to take a look at some of the other quest markers on the map and everything while we make our way over to that other gamekeeper, and we'll see which mission we end up deciding to do for the moment. Probably the gamekeeper one, and then we'll move on to the other stuff later.
Greetings, my friend.
What's the purpose of the pen beyond the stream?
You notice the bloodstains there, eh? I let my hands practice fist fighting there.
And can I try too?
Why not? Maybe you'll get to go to Zhelyov.
To Zhelyov, you say?
Aye. Once in a while, I send my strongest hand there to test his mettle against the locals. He earns a few groschen, and I sleep better at night when folk around know I have a hulk of a man like that here.
And if I beat your hands, would you send me to Zhelyov? I could also use those groschen.
We'll see. You ain't beaten no one yet.
I heard at the Troskovitz Tavern that you might have a job offer.
Well, you don't look lame. I reckon I could find some work for you.
I also heard you're invited to that big wedding coming up.
That's no business of yours at the moment.
You see, I'd really like to get into that wedding.
It's only natural to have dreams and desires at your age, lad. But don't get ahead of yourself. You wanted work. I'll give you work. You'll be carrying sacks of flour.
Well, I probably won't find anything better around here anyway.
The sacks are in the barn, and the wagon is in front of it. I'll give you a groschen for every half dozen you carry. You won't have to buy food. We'll take care of that. And you can sleep here, in the barn. But not on the sacks of flour, you understand? Or I'll tan your hide. Climb up to the loft with the others.
Ah, fuck me.
Careful what you wish for. Go on, get to work. Take care.
They were von Bergov's men. Judging by the colors, they must have lured them into a trap.
Good afternoon.
Gamekeeper Vostatek from Takov sent me here.
You were sent by Vostatek?
Yes. He hired me to find and catch poachers in his forests. That job's done, so he sent me to you. He said there's something I could help you with. He was talking about some ghost?
Nice. You might actually be useful then. What's your name?
Henry.
I'm Varel, the gamekeeper in these parts. But I suppose you know that. The lad who helps me told me a while ago about this ghost you mentioned. But I'll tell you about that after you help me with those bastards infesting my forests. What do you say? Will you do it?
Aye. I just need to know some details.
Sure. Ask away.
How do you know you've got poachers here?
The usual. There's been less and less game, and there's always a reason for that. I thought at first it might be them wolves that are rampaging there too, but I found some remains. It's a poacher, all right.
How can you tell?
There were knife cuts on the bones, not marks of wolves' fangs.
Where do these bastards of yours usually hunt?
The first one has been poaching Troskovitz, the graveyard site. Now we've started patrolling there, he's pulled back to Slatigo, somewhere to the east of the graveyard, and we ain't too keen to go there.
Why's that?
The place is cursed. And on top of that, it's swarming with wolves. You know that half-built cottage in Slatigo?
That must be deep in the forest, right?
The previous gamekeeper started building it, but he didn't finish it. He kicked the bucket before he could go on his first round. I've been gamekeeper here since then, and I don't intend to end up like him.
Vostatek was moaning his forests are full of the vermin, but I only looked for 2. How many do you think you've got here?
I have my suspicions about 3 places, and poachers always work alone, so I reckon it's an unholy trinity.
Do you know of anyone near Slatigo who could help me?
Try asking Ignatius, the Troskovitz gravedigger. Maybe he saw someone around there and can point you in the right direction.
Good idea. Right. I reckon that's all I need.
Good luck. Farewell.
Can I spend the night here? I'll pay you well if you let me spend the night here every now and then.
You can...
Let's agree. Satisfied?
More. Agreed. There's plenty...
Where should...
It'll be best to...
There's something else. Right.
Good luck.
God bless.
I'm Henry. And you must be the local gravedigger, right?
Ignatius, master of the sod, at your service. Looking for a final resting place, are you? Or do you need to bury a dead goat?
I'm more interested in the grave-digging profession as a whole.
Ah, once you try it, you'll never want to do nothing else till the day you die.
Being a gravedigger must be a lonely job, eh? What are your duties?
Funny a young lad like you is so interested in grave digging. Not something you see every day.
Well, I'm only asking. No real reason.
That figures. Youngsters these days wouldn't know hard work if it bit 'em on the arse. It's no wonder I can't find any help.
Are you offering me a job?
No. I'm giving you a warning. You ain't cut out for this trade.
And how do you know that?
You've got that look. I can spot it a mile away.
Could you be more specific?
You just aren't cut out for it, and that's that. A gravedigger needs passion. A sense of duty ain't enough. It's a service, a labour of love, and the meaning of life all in one, lad.
I'm not from these parts, and I've seen a few conciliation crosses around here. What do they mean?
The same as where you come from, I reckon. They mark spots where the sins of man came to be regretted later.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Aye, like when a fella buries an axe in someone's head over something stupid and then comes to regret it. Or if the law sees to it that he regrets it. The sinner then has to erect a conciliation cross to mark the site of his evil deed.
Where does he get the cross from?
Where do you think? From me.
You're in charge of that too? Stone cutting?
I know how to cut a cross out of stone. And what of it? With the soft sandstone around here, it's child's play.
So they're all your work?
I wish. I've only sold 2 or 3 recently. Most of these here are right old. You might find a few stories about them in the village chronicle what's kept at the rat house. All I know is a young fella once jumped off the cliffs near Takoff, and folks say the place is cursed.
Do you know any more stories?
Aye, I do, but I'm not telling you any. I'm not an old fishwife.
But seriously, Ignatius, tell me about yourself.
Gravedigger, knacker, snorter's constant companion, and lover of colourful sunsets, all in one man.
You've nearly got more titles than the Emperor himself.
Well, I have been doing it for almost 40 years now. The bailiff pays me well, in coin and sometimes in goods.
Sounds appealing.
Not all that glitters is gold, lad. A gravedigger's got it hard, and so does a knacker. I pick up dead animals on the side of the road. That's the knacker's job. You could say I have a knack for it. That's why people say I'm unclean. If I had children, they wouldn't be allowed to marry anyone besides an executioner or a gravedigger. It's so ingrained in folk. A fella takes care of things they wouldn't want to handle themselves, and this is how they repay him. Can't even go to the tavern no more.
What's the story with the dead people?
The story? They're dead. What more is there to tell?
But you said there's been a lot of people dying around here recently, right?
Well, it ain't usual for people to get offed by the cartload out here in the sticks, if you ask me. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Hadn't really thought about it that way.
That might be the reason, then. Hey?
What?
Look, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of people dying. If things keep up like this, I'll be out of work in no time. There'll be no one left to bury.
Have you been a gravedigger your whole life? Have you ever thought of changing your trade?
I did think about it once, if I'm honest. I wanted to be a knacker in Yitchin, but some fool with friends in high places got the job, though he can't even tell a shovel from a spade. That really pissed me off, so I said, fuck it. Why would I want to dig graves for people who don't appreciate my craft?
So you've always been here otherwise?
And what of it? Do you think I get bored here? Not recently, I don't. But I think I told you that already.
Unfortunately, I had to bury both my parents recently.
My condolences, lad.
Thank you. I just don't know if it was done right.
Did you witness their deaths?
Unfortunately. They were killed in front of my eyes.
Oh, I understand that's never easy. But if you closed their eyes and buried them in consecrated ground, you've nothing to worry about.
I dug their grave next to our smithy. We didn't have a church in our village.
Well, that can't be avoided sometimes. Don't let it bother you. As long as you picked the spot with good intentions, that's all that matters. I'm certain their souls went straight to heaven. You needn't worry. You did everything right, lad.
You got a big cemetery here. Pretty nice, too.
Ain't it? But being the gravedigger, I'll never have a place of my own here. They'll throw me by the wall like a dog and bury me without ceremony. But when I'm dead, I won't care. If it was up to me, I'd even bury the suicides in hallowed ground. We're all equal before death and the Lord. This game of better and worse places of final rest don't count for nothing.
I'm looking for a poacher in this area. Have you seen anything suspicious?
Not a poacher, I'm afraid, but more wolves than you can shake a stick at. It's mighty odd how many of them are wandering around here. I wouldn't be surprised if it was down to some sloppy poaching.
Any idea where I should take a look?
Right behind the cottage, there's a little path lined with boulders leading towards Slatigo. Follow it into the woods and take a look there. The Slatigo forest ain't that thick, so you won't get lost. It's nothing but rocks, really.
Thanks. That must be the unfinished cottage Varel was talking about.
Dick!
This is the poacher's camp for sure. Only there's no one here. And it looks like nobody's been here for quite some time. That's odd. Must have a look around. looks like the poacher was attacked by wolves. Poacher's dagger. At least that's some proof for the gamekeeper.
Greetings to you.
Greetings. Do you need something?
I've got news about that poacher that you sent me to catch.
And? Did you catch him?
Not exactly.
What does that mean?
Well, you know how you said this poacher leaves a mess behind?
I know, the weasel. That really makes my blood boil.
Anyway, that's how the wolves sniffed him out. He didn't stand a chance against them. There wasn't much left of him, but I brought at least this as proof.
Show me. A hunting knife. This knife will be no use to him now. But still, no one deserves such a fate, getting ripped to pieces by wolves. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to grieve over him.
You said something about a ghost. Will you tell me what that's all about?
Hold your horses. All in good time. If you help with another poacher, I'll tell you the whole story about the ghost. Or are you tired of walking through our beautiful forests?
Oh, leave it out. Tell me about the next poacher.
What do you want to know?
There's a lot of poachers on the rampage here, aren't there? Is there anything different about this one?
This poacher is operating on a big scale.
A big scale?
He's killing so much game that he must be selling it somewhere. It's much more than he could use himself. Only, to prove anything, I'd have to grill all the innkeepers in the area. They wouldn't tell me anything anyway.
Where does this one hunt? Any idea where I should go looking?
A stone's throw from here, in the woods around Samine Pond.
Christ, that's right here under your nose.
I don't like going into them forests, to tell the truth. Even though they're nice and close, there's something not right about them. The game is often frightened. He uses that to his advantage. Maybe Miller Crazel knows something. The poacher operates near his mill, after all.
Good idea. I'll ask him. What should I do with him? Arrest him and take him to Troskovitz?
If some wild beast doesn't mete out justice first, aye. If he's not willing, force him. But make sure he's not too battered.
Yeah, I understand. Thanks. I'll go and find him.
Good luck.
Christ, can't you wash up before going out in public?
Gamekeeper Varro told me there's a poacher in the forest near the pond. Know anything about him? I'm trying to track him down. And I thought, since it's your neck of the woods...
All there is in Lower Samine Forest is the lair, my storehouse. It's on the south side of the pond, somewhere near the middle of the woods. Don't snoop around there too much. But if there's some poacher working there, it must be even further south from the lair, somewhere on the hill there.
Thanks. I'll search deeper in the forest. Someone's making camp here. It looks like a bandit's camp. This is definitely evidence.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson, asshole. Alert! To arms!
Not tough enough on your own?
Aye! Are you?
I surrender. You wouldn't kill me, would you?
Give me everything you have, and I'll let you go.
All right, easy now. Just let me go and I'll give you everything. You got what you wanted. Now let me go.
Hey, I'm
not getting myself killed.
Mutt! Interesting.
Good boy. Good.
Interesting.
There's nothing here for you.
What do you want? You look terrible.
I found those poachers, like you asked me to.
Poachers? More than one?
Yeah. A whole band of them. And not just poachers.
How'd you figure?
From the way they were armed to the teeth. Their camp is a little to the south of the pond. It's full of loot.
Somewhere by the rocks? But that's damn close. Got any proof they're there?
I found this on them.
Typical. The fuckers know what they're doing.
This lot weren't willing to listen to reason. So I dealt with them. They won't be doing any more poaching.
Blimey. You took them on all by yourself. Well, you saved me having to persuade Bailiff Thrush to send the Troskovitz garrison after them.
Are you going to finally tell me about the ghost?
Aye, I will. I need you to catch him. This ghost fella is a poacher too. But he ain't like any other poacher we've had, I can tell you.
Where should I look for him?
That bastard is poaching between my patch and Vostatek's. He knows it's the least patrolled area, since we don't quite know which one of us is responsible for it. You just need to head north a bit from Trotsky Castle.
To the north of the castle? Any idea where I should start?
You can start at the crossroads, northeast of the castle. Search the rocks there. Like I says, us huntsmen don't go there much, so we don't know the area.
Do you want me to send him to the gallows?
Exactly. If he ain't already wolf food or ain't armed to the teeth.
What else can you tell me about him? Why do you think he's different than the other poachers?
He's one big mystery, that bastard. He's a damn good hunter. Every shot hits the mark. A real archery master. On the other hand, he leaves a right mess. And the way he guts the animals is shoddy. I ain't sure if he does it on purpose or he's just sloppy.
Sounds like he could be a huntsman out for revenge.
Nobody's taking revenge on me, that's for sure. But I don't know if Vostatek cursed anyone during a moment of weakness. But it's true, there's a lot that suggests this ghost ain't local.
I'll get on it then.
I can't wait to see how this turns out.
This is a poacher's lair, for sure. So where's the poacher? Sir Hans, I'm here hunting poachers, and I come across you.
Henry! I never expected you here.
I was sent here by the Nebakov gamekeeper. He said there are poachers here, and I don't have to be King Solomon to figure out who the poacher is, do I? Oh, Jesus! You couldn't choose something different? There's all sorts of ways to make money.
Now hold your horses. How else are we supposed to get some coin quickly so we don't have to go around looking like beggars?
By honest work? This is very risky.
Look, no one found me here until you turned up. And you're only here because you're doing some terribly noble deed again and helping out old grannies in distress. And this is how it turns out.
Are you fucking serious? There are plenty of ways you could earn money. Why poaching of all things?
I've always been good at hunting. Remember how we went hunting together the first time? I really showed you up, didn't I?
As I recall, it was the other way around.
What rot! I'll make a pile of coins selling this game. And then, that idiot on the gate will finally believe we're not beggars. He'll be laughing on the other side of his face when we turn up in our finery. And it's a much better way than your idiotic idea with the forge.
You know very well that poaching is a serious crime.
Ah, but this is an exceptional situation. We're messengers. It's only through unfortunate circumstances that we ended up like this. If von Berghoff knew about it, he wouldn't even regard it as poaching. Besides, he'd never leave an honoured guest and a noble to go hungry.
You do know that if they caught you, von Berghoff would never even hear of it.
Henry, you've got to look at it in the broader perspective.
Jesus. And what are you doing with the game you hunt?
Thanks to my bargaining skills, I've got to deal with an excellent trader in Troskowitz.
And you realise that this trader of yours could snitch on you if he's in a corner? Or just for the reward?
My trader is reliable.
Maybe, but someone might see you together.
That's not going to happen. We're careful.
The gamekeeper wants to get rid of poachers around here, and I promised to help him do it.
Well, that's awkward for you, isn't it? Any idea what you're going to tell him?
Well, have you? Surely you don't expect me to tell him I didn't find anyone?
Why the hell not? You just found some abandoned camp, no? It's a stroke of luck that he sent you, eh?
You have to stop doing it. We can't risk you getting found out. Maybe just by chance.
And have you any better idea of how we get to the castle? Eh? Look at the state of yourself. No matter how you dress up, you still have straw sticking out of your boots. With my plan, we'd have at least some chance.
And what am I supposed to tell the gamekeeper now?
I don't know. Make something up. Maybe you found the poacher and he didn't want to surrender. He attacked you, and you beat him. And that's that.
You have to cooperate at least a bit, though. If I found you, then so can anyone else. Like people from the castle?
You're making a fuss about nothing. It was purely by chance that you found me. I'll cover all my tracks, clear the path, and I'll be very careful from now on. Just relax, no one will find me. I'll see to that.
It's not enough. How are you going to hide a camp in the middle of the woods?
I already told you what I'll do so that they don't find me. If it's not enough for you, bugger off.
Oh, and the gamekeeper will want to see some proof that I found the poacher and dealt with him. Got anything?
I could give you my equipment. It'd be pretty hard to survive without it, but...
To poach without it?
Yeah, that's settled then.
All right.
My God, lad. Why are you covered in blood?
You don't have to worry about the last poacher either anymore. But it was one hell of a job, I can tell you.
Really? Go on. Where was he?
North of Trotsky. He had a small camp there. Below a cliff. Just like you said.
I'm sure he realised there wasn't any point resisting. What did you do with him?
I had to kill him.
Why did you have to?
That fella wasn't keen on being arrested. The first thing he did was draw a hunting knife on me. He's done for, in any case.
Got any proof?
I found this gear on him. He probably used it to make traps, and some tongs as well. Probably for pulling out teeth and that.
Look how well kitted out them poaching vermin are. I see why he didn't want to just pack it in. He had a good thing going there. Good work. Here's your reward.
Thanks. That's a generous reward.
We don't have any more poachers, so take it as a parting gift from us huntsmen. It'll be a long time before any more of the arseholes turn up in the Trotsky forests. You sent out a clear signal what they can expect. Well, you can take a look at my bows if you want, and in return for your help, I'll take a bit off the usual price. Don't use it for poaching, though.
That's not a bad idea, you know.
Don't even think about it.
No, of course not. Thanks.
I'll tell Vostatek to do the same. But just between you and me, better buy one from me. Bows soaked in spirits aren't very hard wearing.
So there's another quest in the books, and I've got to say I find it quite hilarious that we just run into Hans just being a poacher. It's so in character for him, but not exactly what I was expecting out of this quest. So we actually accumulated quite a bit of perk points in this episode, so we'll be spending those at the beginning of the next one. And you may have noticed that I also upgraded our crossbow during a little bit of an encounter. Well, not an encounter. We found some of von Bergov's men, and they were all killed, and one of them had this nice field crossbow on him. So we actually...
Put that weapon away.
of course, they're upset about it. Okay, we'll run off over here. Pull it out. And I don't know, I honestly like the look of this one quite a bit better than the other one. Wow. Okay. Well, point being that it is quite a nice little crossbow, and it is quite a bit more powerful, which is of course the most important thing. Now, I think we have one other quest. Well, there is also this melee at the mill one, which I think is where we're just going to fist fight a few people. And then we have this, which is a quest with the miller. So that should be pretty interesting. If you played the first game, then you know that millers get up to a lot of no good. So that should actually be a pretty entertaining quest. I don't know how we're going to go about it, since we're trying to be a mostly sorta kinda law-abiding citizen and everything. We may actually try to turn them in. I'm not really sure at this point. But either way, that's going to be it for this episode. So as always, I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.